there, everybody. I snuck up on you, didn't I, Teresa? My bad, but I'm not too sorry.
Caught me doing bad things.
I just think it's so cute. You guys are backstage and everybody's kind of like, bopping their head.
It had a little Indian.
Yeah, I loved it.
At one point, it sounded like a disco. I'm sitting back here having a ball. You sneak me up there on the screen.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway, your channel for community support, help, friendship, love, knowledge, and just plain being of value to others. Welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, it's always good to have you with us. And it's Friday night. It's time to feed your mind and grow your heart. And tonight, we are talking about the benefits of sound and light healing. Pretty amazing stuff. And I will send it over to you, Teresa, and you can do your voodoo. You do so well.
I'm going to voodoo you. I was just looking at a Facebook posting by our dear sister Deborah Culver Hickman from a couple of days ago, and she said it was it's come to my attention that today is National Moon Day. So get out there and moon people.
Okay.
So I responded. Wasn't this a couple of days ago? Because I took care of it, but somehow I didn't realize, and nobody told me it was 7 a.m. in the morning. But the postman was okay with it. So, and what did you say, Lori?
I forgot. I completely spaced it.
Oh my God, it could have been worse. You may have blinded someone. Laugh my ass off.
Oh, did I say that?
I know where you live, Cross.
You got me. You got me.
I know where you live.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
That was a funny posting she had there. That made me laugh.
That was a good one. I laughed at yours.
Yeah, I see you did. You're full of it tonight, aren't you?
Just a little bit, but it's all right.
Oh, boy.
Don't hold it against me, okay?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jules.
Yeah, just
happy birthday to you.
Sorry we murdered that, but hey, have a happy birthday.
She'll be on.
I knew it was yesterday for her, but it's today for us, so we're good.
Yeah, she's going to join us a little later.
Yeah,
if she can. She's at a festival in her costume. But she made a significant, as you'll see in a few moments, she made a significant contribution to this program tonight. And she's going to jump in when she can. And we're still sending out prayers and intents and good wishes to Karen, who's helping her dad through a transition. And Regina Huddleston, who just lost her mom. Our hearts and prayers go out to you and your family. And we're still lifting David Null up in prayer. And if he's up to it, he can get the technology to work. He might even drop into the chat room tonight and say hi.
Oh, good. I hope
he'll at least try. Yeah,
but it sounds like he's in really good hands.
He is. He's in expert care, he claims, and they're doing everything. They're so thorough. They've checked him out inside and out. I've put all kinds of postings out there. Michelle, Can Free, Barry Chad. They've all put updates. We're all keeping in touch with him. I think he's talking to Brenda tonight or
good
at some point. So
great.
People are cheering him up, but he doesn't need a lot of cheer. He was wearing his Snoopy underwear to make all the nurses and doctors laugh. He's crazy. He's just crazy.
That's great.
So, but he's making the best of a terrible situation,
Well, that's good that he's getting the care he needs. So
with a positive attitude about everything. So
well, good for him.
We love him. So.
Yeah.
All right, tonight's show.
And
go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Sophia's dad, I'm not sure if he's still in the hospital or not, but he's been in the hospital for a couple of days.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's where Sophia's been. Somebody was
Sophia's
asking about
in
her.
chat. Listen, let me go ahead and holler out to chat real quick.
Go ahead.
We haven't done this, and we missed it a couple times. Go, it's always a pleasure having you with us. Absolutely love you to pieces. Thank you for being here. Jules is in the house. Julianne Margaret, good to see you. Hello, Cole. How are you? Good to see you as well. Truth Seeker, such a pleasure. Always love seeing you as well. Let's see who else. We have Pearl Jones. Hi, Pearl. How are you?
Hey, Delaney.
Yep, Delaney. Lucky Smith, good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure. Sophia, love you so much. I hope and pray everything goes well for you the way it's supposed to. Sending you lots of love and healing for your father. Jeannie and Michael, good to see you too. Love you to pieces as well. Thanks for being here. Great. Beloved Abstract, love seeing you as well. Sip, sip, sip. Richard the Red, good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's see, who else do we have? Sophia, of course. Joe Sapiens, good to see you as well. Thank you for being here. Wonderful to see you all. All right, let's get into it.
A lot of folks. I saw Max Vision in there too.
Oh, there's Max. Yep, I see him.
Hi, Max. Good to see you.
Yeah,
I had a feeling this topic might attract.
Yeah,
Max.
might get him interested.
I had a feeling.
Huh? Yeah.
And he's probably on later tonight too.
Oh, of course, yeah. Look for him, everybody.
Yeah,
he's got a great show. Remote viewing, awesome.
Yep. All right, so let's get into what this is about, because we've put little tidbits out through the trailer, and we've put an announcement out, and then we did one today as a reminder to folks. We have a couple of virtual guests, you might call them. Compliments of Julianne, who sent Lori this video some time ago, and she shared it with a few people in the community. And Lori herself was getting information on this subject and really wanted to cover this topic. So thank you, Lori, for being a catalyst for bringing this back.
You betcha.
This topic back, and for Jules for inspiring us. There's two people that are being interviewed at a pre-recorded session. Their names are Jason Shakura, Shurkra, and Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. And we'll explain to you who they are, and you'll see in a moment. But we're going to take a few moments from their pre-recorded interview because it really covers the gist of what we're talking about tonight, really gets into it, and then we'll have a roundtable discussion about their conversation. And then there's another 7-minute segment where they talk about the effects of photons and DNA on the light triggering our DNA. So it's going to be very interesting. It's fascinating, this technology that Dr. Michael is now using. So I have a little saying here: if you don't take control over your own health, everything else around you will. Self-healing practice is an art form requiring discipline and experimentation, and most of all, a strong desire to heal, along with the belief that you can and will succeed. Take it from me, I know. Intent and belief is paramount to your success. So we're going to discuss self-healing practices involving a combination of vibrational therapies involving sound, light, color, crystals, scalar energy, and visualization. Sounds like the kitchen sink, I know. But I'm telling you, with some practical experience in the past several weeks, the combination of these, any one of these subjects is very complex, but when you start combining these tools together for a self-treatment program, it can be very powerful. It packs a bigger punch, is what I say. Along with healthy eating, good regimen of daily herbs, essential oils, all those things that you do for body and care is all part of it. We're also going to discuss how different combinations affect different parts of the body, our DNA. But most of this evening, to tell you quite truthfully, will be heavily devoted to color. And we will touch on sound and possibly follow up this program with another part 2, getting into more detail about the sound portion of it, because that in itself is quite extensive. So we do want to say, before we jump into this, the Andromeda 7 team here, I'm speaking for all of us, you guys, so you have to trust me on this. We acknowledge that holistic healing does not necessarily replace medical treatments by medical professionals. They're different. And no way are we suggesting that anyone ceases or desists from your current medically approved health plans. That's entirely up to you and your doctors. The holistic healing approaches are still considered pseudoscience by many healthcare professionals. We all know that in this community. But for those who are listening and are new to the channel, we share our experiences with these things so that we can lift each other up and encourage each other, because we believe that anecdotal evidence is very strong in this community of how well these tools can help aid and assist you in your healing process. Will they cure you? Some have claimed they have been cured. Others have noticed significant improvements. So using them along with your regular medical program is also another way to go with it, because sometimes medicine doesn't take care of everything, common medicine. So you might find that having some of these tools and experimenting with what works best for you helps you along with your regular medical routine program. Okay, so we have 2 segments. The first 30 minutes will be dedicated most likely to most of the the color therapies.
Mm-hmm.
And our 2 virtual guests are you're going to watch a approximately 19-minute video. But you're going to want to listen to every word they say. I was on the edge of my chair. It's such a great interview. You don't want to miss it. So grab something cold to drink, kick back. The panel will come back on after those 19 and a half minutes and talk about it. You'll be able to address some things in the chat room. The second segment of the show tonight will tell you a little bit more about the sound frequencies specific to certain types of healing. We won't get into all of the technology with the sound, but we'll touch on it. We'll cover that later, like I said before, and I'll talk a little bit about the combination of the crystals, some scalar energy and visualization techniques used in combination. Okay? And our own personal experiences with that. Yeah. So, if any of you have stories, and even in the chat room, if you've got experience with some of this, put it in there in the chat so people can see. So let's begin with our first segment. This first segment discusses a medbed technology-based device enhancement. Hopefully most of you understand what medbed technology is. And even if you don't, you'll pick it up through this interview. But this woman has enhanced the technology, and she uses spiritual and physical science applications combined with scalar and photon color therapies for DNA repair. Jason is a representative of the light system. So I bet Max Vision knows what that is. TLS is related to the Galactic Federation. And the creator of the energy enhancement system is Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Now, she is a nutritionist and an orthopedic physical therapist who built her own scalar healing light chamber back in 1978. Back in 1978.
Wow.
She's using photons and biphotonic energy. And she has a new system that she has put in all over the country. And you'll hear that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce those 2 and get them started. Now, folks, I have to read a couple screens. The man is typing. And for those who don't have a big screen, you won't be able to see it. So you're going to hear my annoying voice. Angelic, my angelic voice.
Okay, there you go.
My angelic voice. No. I'll do my best to follow along with his typing, but if I don't do that, it'll be dead silence for some of you. So go ahead, Lori.
All right, here we go.
For quite some time now, my attention has been captivated by medbed technology. Medbed technology is a form of technology that has very wide healing capabilities. After a long search coupled with the proper guidance and some incredible experiences, I am confident that I have found technology that emulates medbed technology or even better. And the good news is, it's in the right hands. Just recently, my aunt discovered that she had a 12.5 centimeter cystic fibroid in her uterus. A very interesting chain of events led my family to discover that Dr. Sandra Rose Michael and her extraordinary technology. My aunt decided to give it a try. Within 4 hours of treatment, the cyst, along with the pain and discomfort, completely disappeared. At first, I thought maybe it's a coincidence. However, the deeper I dove down the rabbit hole, the more miracle stories I found after some time. I got in touch with Dr. Michael, and to my amazement, she informed me that TLS approached her in 2011 through her good friend Humphrey Angeles. It turns out Dr. Michael was telling the truth. The interview you are about to watch features Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, the inventor of the energy enhancement system technology. I flew to Las Vegas especially to film this so that I can share it with all of you. My intention of publishing this interview is to raise awareness of the truth, with hopes that we can all combine forces to find a way to make this technology even more accessible so that the entire world can benefit from it. Please note that I am not financially affiliated in any way with Dr. Michael or her technology whatsoever. I do not have any incentive to feature her or her technology on my platform, other than raising awareness and helping humanity. Being that Dr. Michael is now publicly being associated,
Michael, it's an honor to be sitting here with you today. A very, very interesting chain of events has caused this interview to come to fruition in the first place, all surrounding a technology that you've developed that many call medbed technology, because that's really what it emulates in its essence of how it works and what I would call the miracles that it's allowed to come to fruition on many people all around the world. It's a technology that I've seen firsthand dissolve a 12.5-inch cystic fibroid in my aunt's uterus, a technology that has caused TLS to actually encourage me to come and help raise awareness to this incredible healing modality that you've created, but also to help figure out a way to make it more accessible around the world. And what's interesting is that you're actually the first person that I know of that TLS has accepted and agreed to associate with publicly without hiding your identity, which is a very big deal. And I'm sure that it's all for good reason, especially with what I call technology. I know you have a different way of speaking about it, but it is an incredible technology that I know I am sitting here for a very good reason to help bring out to the world so we can help make more accessible. So with that being said, before we go deeper into what this technology is all about, what we're actually sitting next to as we speak in this interview, can you share a little bit more about your background to create a foundation for those who don't know who you are and the work that you do?
Okay. Yeah, people ask, where did it start? Well, my parents met in engineering physics. My mother, a nuclear physicist. My dad, the aerospace, electrical, mechanical, structural engineer. Met in engineering physics, and oops. I was conceived at Tesla's power plant site, with Niagara Falls, and on their honeymoon. Mm-hmm. Which my mother was not happy about, but she was fissioning plutonium in the labs, the Battelle labs, working on the bomb the whole time she was pregnant with me.
When you say the bomb, are you referring to the nuclear bomb?
Yeah, working on bomb technologies. And so coming in, I see everything as that combination of engineering and physics. So I see the body that way as a circuitry. And but I thought everybody grew up with my favorite toys, which were Geiger counters and gyroscopes, and healing all the animals on the farm. So I was very blessed in that my parents were both hyper genius. Mensa, I grew up with all the gifts of the Mensa, support for the development, and coming in going, my mother was working on the bomb. My dad did stealth bombers and worked on Mach 3. And I'm going, how do we heal? How do we bring healing to the world? How do we heal all of this? And so that was what my quest has been. And I started in chiropractic, reflexology, nutrition, Ayurveda, acupressure, 1971. And so there's that whole background of really focusing on how do we bring healing. But I also studied Rife technology and radionics in the early 70s. And by 1978, I built my first scalar healing light chamber after doing a whole bunch of experiments and research and incorporating materials from NASA and doing a lot of research on photons and importance of biophotonic energy and the importance of standing columnar waves in the scalar. And we were seeing absolute total miracles in 1978, but it was one person at a time. Can't heal the world that way. So, but we saw reversals of all kinds of things because the power that made the body heals the body. So it's not like my technology is doing the healing. No, the power that made the body heals the body. When the body has the right information, the right energy, it wants to heal everything. The body wants to function perfectly. And so it's just a hyper healthy, energetic environment that we've created, kind of like, like you recharge your cell phone, but you're recharging every cell of your body with a wireless transmission of energy and dense intentional informational fields combined with the photonics, and because the DNA is biophotonic. But this was a whole download of instruction to create this after being recognized as one of the top healers on the planet, because I'm really a hands-on healer.
Is it safe to say, from what I'm understanding with what you're expressing here about this technology, which we'll dive into in just a second, it's not the technology that's healing you, it's the technology that's creating an environment for you to heal yourself?
That's correct.
Understood. So energy enhancement system is what we're looking at over here. I know this is called the cube, and you have many other ways that you can formulate this in a room with multiple different screens and systems, 16-unit systems, 24-unit systems. For short, I know you call it EES technology, the energy
EE system.
EE system. Understood. So can you explain a little bit more before you explain how this thing works? How did it come to you? I mean, this is no joke. You know, when you're seeing people getting healed in an hour, you know, in a few minutes, in a few hours from things that they say are impossible, you need surgery or you're going to die. And we're seeing people step into this room and being changed almost instantaneously. How did something like that come to you? Was it given to you from somebody? Did it come to you through spiritual essence, spiritual ways? How did you bring this to fruition?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question, because my mastery is with the body and tracking things cell by cell through the body. And the body has consciousness and the DNA, specifically working with the DNA and the codes of the DNA and the memory and the cell memory, but the DNA. And the DNA is biophotonic. We are bodies of light. In fact, my original work was under body of light, and that's a federal trademark, copyright, etc., from way back to, I think that was finalized in 97 or something like that, body of light, because we are bodies of light. Prime function of DNA is storage of photons. You know, and so I have all the scientific and medical background, but bringing it forward, and I was meditating during a Scorpio eclipse in the early 90s, 92, actually. And I was meditating and going, the clearer your question, the clearer your answer. Ask and you shall receive is a law. And so I was asking, okay, now how do we bring healing to the world? There's only so many people I could personally teach or touch or train. How do we bring healing to the world? And even more specifically, how do we create the quantum leaps of consciousness for accelerated evolution?
Yes.
For a new heaven, a new earth through us. And it was a download of instruction to program technology to emulate my work, as I was already recognized as top healer. People flew me everywhere, flew in from everywhere. I'd be booked 40 hours straight with sessions, waiting lists of people, because anything and everything would heal, because the body wants to function perfectly. So I used to say I'm like jumper cables. So that's what we created, kind of jumper cables to the body. But we're like jumper cables for, that spark of life, that optimal, light force, literally light force, life force, energy to flow through us and to touch the hearts of every cell, to touch the, because when you activate that light within you, it reminds you who you are, all that you are, all that you're here for, all that you have access to. And so it's spiritual science. And yes, I can go right down all the rabbit holes of all the actual physics and biophysics and quantum physics and nuclear physics. And, so I have all that background and the medical side. And I'm recognized as a doctor of natural medicine besides a biophysicist. And like I said, Mensa, our brains are a little bit different, so I can go right down into all the science, but it's really spiritual. And so I was asked to create this technology to create that quantum leap of consciousness, to bypass some of the projected realities. How do we create that consciousness where you can call forth all the wisdom of what's been held in the DNA? How do you call forth all the wisdom of our ancestors? How do we be here now in the fulfillment of all the prayers, all the promises, all the prophecies of all who have gone before us? And call forth all that wisdom rather than being stuck in any old patterns or programs of old genetic damage even that's been held in the DNA or in the cell memory. How do we call forth the wisdom of all that and be present now, as the fully realized Christed conscious beings, to walk the planet in total balance and total awareness of who we are, all that we are, all that we have access to, and how highly we're connected. So there's a lot of science to that, but it's an embodiment of truth. Because it's truth that sets us free. And that's part of how this was developed, is the cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth.
So, first of all, I love the fact that you bring it all back to the spiritual core of everything, because that's really what everything kind of emerges out of. I think one of the main problems with medicine today, and even science today, in the way that we're applying it, is we're only focused on the physical. And people forget that spirit world and the intangible roots that everything emerges from. So I appreciate the fact that you bring that, and I think that that's why this technology came to fruition, because you connected to, call it the wisdom of the ancestors, to source, to light. Everybody has a different name for it, to God. But I do believe that that's why we're sitting here, based on the expression of your explanation. It's coming from a deeper root, and not just the surface of physicality. So I want to ask you a question. I'm looking at this thing over here. I see a lot of lights. I see it moving very fast. Some move faster than the rest. Some lights are different colors. How does this thing work?
Well, you could see this as polychromatic therapy, like your ultimate light therapy. There is that aspect to it. And the DNA is biophotonic, of course, as we talk about. But how do you create those quantums of light, the biophotons? Well, that comes through the intersection of fields, phase conjugation, phase conjugate wave pairs, where you have the collision of fields, which creates an implosion and a release of charge. So it creates a torsion field, or a tube torus torsion field, your scalar vortex. And that combination then with the light is how we're interfacing with the body, because the DNA, the whole, everything is in that torsion field, or that scalar vortex, which has been called the secret of life, right?
Correct.
But also with the light and dense intentional informational fields. So it's a combination of it's a whole layering of things, and you're seeing it in its Fibonacci sequences, your golden mean, but it's, creates the Fibonacci sequences has to do, I was told specifically to incorporate that because everything in the body is based on that Fibonacci sequence or the golden mean, which, but the specific for that is to activate and mobilize the body's the body's stem cells, which are, because it's activating and mobilizing the body's own cellular replication patterns. So, and it's designed to interface with the DNA. If you look at it, if you can kind of see it, we're kind of close to it, but it's like 12 strands of DNA. It's designed to be specifically emulating 12 strands of DNA to activate all the latent capabilities of our DNA. That's not junk DNA.
So can you say that this can actually work to activate certain strands or aspects of your DNA?
Yes. And if I put it to a black background, it looks precisely, specifically like out of the Genome Project. Even though I developed this to interface with the DNA way before I ever saw any of those screens from the Genome Project.
Very interesting. What kinds of things have you seen done with this technology healing-wise?
Oh gosh, we're very blessed. We've literally seen anything and everything heal. The body wants to heal. We've had people literally sent for hospice. I think I showed you a picture of a general. Did I show you that?
I don't think so.
We can maybe show that.
Yes, with the burns?
Yes, the third-degree burns over his whole body, 3 strokes, 77 years old. He was sent to hospice by the VA. And I said, just get him here, get him to me. He had total paralysis, both sides, no bladder control, no bowel control. Everybody thought he was dead. I mean, he looked dead, but they brought him in. I carried him in. They brought him for 4 hours a day. And I showed you the picture after 10 days where he's standing. And
it looked much better.
Yeah. And brought him back to life. And he was able to fulfill and go back and complete and accomplish some of the things that he really wanted to accomplish before and that was 77. I think he passed when he was 82. But amazing, amazing man, amazing story. And I told you some of that. And just fascinating stuff. And another example of stroke, for example, Dr. Dream, Mark Peebler, he had a double stroke. I sent him a message, just get to an EE system ASAP after a double stroke. Well, he got here. He ended up coming here about 3 weeks after his stroke. It took about 45 minutes for him to come in that door and make it to the system. He could not, and this was with a walker and 2 people helping him. He could not stand at all without falling down. After 2 hours, though, he walked unassisted from over 100 feet, unassisted both ways, without touching anything intentionally. And he's doing fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so we've seen just crazy miracles. We love miracles, but it's just, the power that made the body heals the body, really. And this is like, how do you plug the body back into that cosmic light socket? Universal, unlimited power on. And that's your light force energy.
I know you can go on with stories endlessly of the things that you've seen, even from the conversations that you and I've had off camera. But I want to ask you a difficult question that I'm sure a lot of people are asking. If this works the way that we're saying that it works, and it creates the miracles that we're seeing in many people all around the world, how hasn't it been destroyed? Coincidentally.
Yeah, I'm very highly protected, but there have been many, many attempts on my life. I mean, let's be real. But I'm also very highly protected because of the high level of beings that have our technology.
Can you speak more about that?
Special forces, for example, but admirals and generals, and that it's been very highly protected in those ways as well. And also, it was initially I only let it out to private homes. That's why now about 90% of the systems are actually in private homes. And actually, one of the initial systems that went out to a student of mine who was studying with me, studying healing. I'm recognized as a kahuna in Hawaii, and he was studying healing with me, and it went out to him, and he introduced himself at our first training in Hawaii that I did with him as a Wall Street tycoon, but he was part of the Rothschild family. So he actually, one of the first systems went to him.
So what you're saying is there are elites in the world that are using this technology.
Yes. And, they want to heal from all their own abuse and trauma as well. The first full system was finally installed in Golden, Colorado in 1996. And so there's a history from there of, that we can talk about as far as who showed up because it creates, we're colliding photons like CERN Fermi Labs, creating photonic fusion. So it's a cold fusion type event.
Okay. I know you had an experience, something having to do with NASA, DEFCON. Can you share that?
Yeah, I guess we can.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
And very, very interesting because next thing you know, there were ships overhead when I finally got a full system set up, and black helicopters because this was near NORAD, things like that, and then actually somebody from NASA was sent to find out what we were doing, because it showed up like the signature of a nuclear sub on land. So it ended up, so I was told that, I was told this fairly recently by the person that sent NASA to us, that there were actually 300 men in hazmat suits that surrounded us. I said, I didn't see that many, really. I didn't see all those. I saw some, but anyway, we ended up putting a system down in Houston.
Okay.
And I would get briefings from NASA as they were studying the effects of the technology. And part of the research that was done was studying the effects on the DNA. And again, I designed this specifically to interface with the DNA. So studying the effects on the DNA was the top geneticist out of Baylor University, and they found that it was repairing all the breaks in the DNA, all the genetic damage, but all the DNA, because it's designed specifically to put the DNA back to its original divine matrix. I like to say we have designer genes. And how do you put the DNA back to its original design? So it's designed to intentionally put the DNA back to its original design. They found it was repairing all the damage, all the breaks in the DNA, and lengthening the telomeres. So that's true age reversal. Nobody knew what telomeres were. Nobody was talking about that back in the late 90s, but that's true age reversal.
I understand the longer they are, the longer you live.
That's correct.
So there's a direct correlation.
Lots more research on that. And shortened telomeres creates shortened life. You see shortened telomeres, for example, with cancer. But this is going to try to lengthen the telomeres, which are like the end caps of the DNA, or it's the end caps, like a shoestring. Or I talk about, this is scalar wave here. It's really good for hair, and lengthening it grows super fast.
I need that.
The hair grows in thick and fast and things like that. But the ends don't split because it's a unified, cohesive, coherent, unified field effect. But also it's because of the collision of the photons creates, a fusion type event, which creates hydrobifurcation, which is a release of the active oxygen. So you've got like your ultimate oxygen therapy. So you see the cells, the red blood cells, perfectly, totally oxygenated, which is really important, especially in what we've been dealing with lately, how the cells stay totally oxygenated and free flowing. But so you got the active oxygen. Now, some of the physicists I've worked with found that's 5 or 6 molecules of active oxygen and active hydrogen. Now, the active hydrogen, that's your pH. It's your hydrogen potential or the power of hydrogen. But it's the active hydrogen then that can repair the covalent hydrogen bonds in the DNA. It's putting the DNA back to its original unified. Because what radiation does, now understand, I know radiation literally from the inside out with my mother, right?
Okay.
I mean, I came extreme radiation poisoning myself. And that's what we're all dealing with now is radiation poisoning. Radiation unzips the DNA, breaks those bonds. Okay,
when it comes to radiation,
put it back and repair those bonds.
What about this? How does this not emit any negative radiative effects?
And it's been tested and tested and tested every which way. And it's that, because that's a great question. Because of the phase conjugation, it creates a 0-point technology, and it creates a nullification of all detrimental and destructive fields. And that null zone effect, one of the president of the Biophysics Association, but he was a top researcher for the Pentagon, was sent to meet me, and brought a $100,000 oscilloscope. And you can actually watch that video on YouTube.
When was this?
Oh gosh, that's a number of years ago. John Orava. And he brought that very specialized oscilloscope, but he's explaining what he's seeing, what it means.
Okay, Lori.
And it's showing.
Mm-hmm. All right. The interview goes on and on and on. It gets into greater detail on other things. We actually went over a little bit because Lori and I can't really see. I had to blow the screen up to see the timestamp. But so what do you think so far about this? I mean, I know it sounds like a great big infomercial, but if I hadn't had some experiences lately myself with color and sound therapy, I might poo-poo the idea, but it sounds pretty legit to me because I am familiar with the medbed technology, and Max has brought up a few good points. So what are your thoughts on this, guys?
What you think, Dalibor?
Well, it sounds great. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really convincing if she could set up like a public area where she could demonstrate this. Where people can come in for free and like see if it works. Because at this point, it sounds kind of speculative and unfounded, because she's presumably the inventor, right? Where I'm presuming that she's used this on herself. Like, does she appear to be like the shining peak of optimal DNA? I don't know. She doesn't look bad, but
yeah, it just sounds similar to other technologies, as Richard is pointing out here. Very similar to what a TV person in the UK called Noel Edmonds.
Well, sure, but for example, she made a reference to rife technology. I don't think she really understands what rife technology is all about. It's not just the willy-nilly application of electrical frequency. I mean, you have to know which parasite or which disease you're up against, and then match the frequency to that particular disease or parasite to neutralize it. So this to me just seems like a willy-nilly application of light and light emissions of some kind, and she doesn't really doesn't really explain how the unit works.
Well, she does later. She gets into more detail on the device itself much later, and it gets pretty complicated. So it would take up, their interview went for well over an hour.
Well, see, that's the part I'd be interested in.
But there are many devices, as Max Vision is pointing out. Trina uses a light healing device as well in her healing work. So I don't discount it completely. I was speculative over some of the examples of the healing she talked about. Thank you, Lori. That she talked about with instantaneous healing.
Yeah, that's something I would be kind of
That's
skeptical of. Yeah,
yeah.
but see, what we do know about different colors of light and different frequencies of sound is that it does have an effect mainly on the human psyche. And for example, in my country, that's based on studies, scientific studies that were done. That's why all public buildings are painted light green on the inside, like police stations, courts, office buildings, that sort of thing. Always light green because that's supposed to calm you down, and it does.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And it's been known since medieval times. I mean, that's the real reason behind stained glass art. Is that if you go into a church and you notice some of the older churches that have the stained glass, like which colors dominate? That whole tapestry. Is it the reds? Is it the blues? Well, both red and blue have a tendency to stimulate stimulate the uh, consciousness. That's why people. That's why the devil wears red, for example. That's why a lot of countries have red in their flags. They
Red
it's
gets your
also
attention too.
red gets your attention. That's why you have the red
mm-hmm.
cross. It's a very noticeable color because subconsciously we associate it with the color of blood. So especially when you see like a red on white, like for example the color of Poland, that's a very attention-getting kind of flag. Um, I mean, the basic colors, especially, are very evocative of certain basic emotions. That's why you have red, white, and blue. And not only the American flag, but the Russian flag, my own country's flag. A whole bunch of other countries have flags that are red, white, and blue. Holland, um, you know, just to name a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So we do know that different colors and colors of light have an effect on the psyche. But as to any kind of extraordinary claims regarding physical healings, I'd like to see some proof. In other words, I'm not skeptical out of hand. I don't dismiss anything out of hand, but I'd
Right.
like to see some evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Go ahead,
I know when I went to a chiropractor years ago, I was having trouble. My hip was completely out of whack, and I couldn't even put the clutch in my car to get to the chiropractor. But weeks after I was adjusted, they used that infrared sonic. So it was sound and infrared. And I'm telling you, I got so much relief from that. It was unbelievable. And I just couldn't fathom at that time in my mind how that could work. But I'm telling you, I would go back because I just had so much pain. And each time I would go to do that, it would alleviate the pain for me. And I felt a lot better.
Well,
So there was
see,
something to that.
I am sure, and for a couple of reasons, because infrared is just another word for heat. So,
Hmm.
the heating the area that was affected,
That's true.
that always helps. That always
That's
helps
true.
in any kind of healing. As to the sound, well, that's just it's basically the same as a massage. It's just that it's a really quick massage. It's like vibrating at, I don't know, 20,000 times a second.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's the same as the application of vibration, which also is therapeutic because it increases blood circulation. That's one of the easiest way. Like, if, for example, if you have, if
Well,
you
it
want
was
to grow
interesting.
hair on your head,
Yeah,
you would
on the
apply like a
module. Go ahead.
vibrator on
Hmm.
your head. They
Hmm.
do sell them.
Yeah.
Truth Seeker, they don't actually have med beds. It's using a lot of the same internal components and technology that med beds use. So they've enhanced that technology and put it through this cube. And they've installed these cubes in private homes throughout the country. Medical centers are trying them out. Um, they're getting a lot of acclaim from more famous elite type people too, which always makes me suspicious. But um, uh, but they're used by the general. She's got one example later on. If you watch the entire video interview, which I urge you to do if you're
And
really
it's in the
interested in it.
description for you folks. I'm also going to post it here in chat for you. So if you guys want to, watch the entire video, there you go.
Yeah.
Also,
So
we have we have Jules backstage here real quick.
There's Jules. Hi, Jules. We
Hi,
just got
Jules.
finished watching the video you gave us. So
Hello, everybody.
hi.
Thanks for the video.
Well, I watched it a few weeks ago, so I would have to watch it again to prompt to be able to conversate. So I'm just busy. I'll just quickly pop in to say hello and show you lots of colour. Lots of colour.
Yeah.
So
Right.
here is all the clothes, if you can see, in our fashion parade.
Mhm.
And the girls that are getting ready to model. And there's the red carpet. So you did say infrared, didn't you? So they're all going to walk on the red carpet.
Yeah, well, the red carpet symbolizes the bloodline, literally.
Mm.
And so you might get a better view of all the clothes there now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our community. What it's all about is the fundraising for our flood affected victims, or we don't want to call them victims, but the people that got flooded. We're raising funds for
People who need
to
the
give
help.
to them to get back into their houses. Here's a couple of here's Colleen. Hello.
Hi,
And here's another lovely model here. This is
Hi.
Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
So she's getting in the bridal gown.
Oh, great, great.
Ooh, nice.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I won't hang around. I'll let you get back to the show so I can get doing what I'm doing. So
All
enjoy,
right.
guys. Thank you so much for all you do and your gifts and talent.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you, Jules. Happy
Bye now.
birthday, Jules. Enjoy your
Thank you so
festival.
Happy
much.
birthday.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Bye. And greetings, Susie Q. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Susie Q, we love you.
So I was
Yeah.
curious about what Grandpa Brian's take is on all of this. What are you thinking about all this?
Well, this is not new technology. The Egyptians have rooms they call solariums that they use different color glasses and reflect light for healing. So
Yeah.
this is nothing new. This goes back a long ways.
Thousands of years, yes.
Thousands of years. And it's kind of weird, like, you know, when someone's depressed, everybody always says, oh, they have the blues. But yet the color blue is supposed to be a soothing, calming color. How did we, you know, start calling someone has the blues when that color represents a soothing, calming color?
Yeah.
Also,
There's another
in the chakra
then you
system,
got,
it's
like,
communication.
Yeah.
Then you got like things like green with envy, or yellow with fear. Yellow with fear.
Right.
Yeah.
So color does have vibration.
And green's a healing.
Color is its own vibration. Yeah, each color, yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
Each color gives out its own vibration.
Yes, it does. Teresa, you've had some experience, and I think it's time for you to share what you've been experiencing, because
I would only add one thing, that, you know, what is color but just a change of frequency? And, you know, the number of frequencies in the entire electromagnetic spectrum that the human body can directly sense using its 5 senses is extremely small. To put this in American terms, if you were to take a strip of tape and stretch it between New York City and Chicago as the electromagnetic spectrum, then the section of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can directly see, touch, hear, feel, see, smell, is only about 5 inches long of that entire strip. So, you know, aside from other frequency technologies that we use on a daily basis, like, for example, microwaves or cell phone radiation to communicate, we don't really have a direct experiential sensation of any of those.
Yeah, there's another segment, but we're not going to have time tonight to play it, so I suggest you all take a look at it. It starts at the, what is it, the 23-minute mark, where she gets into more
23 minutes into
about
the
the
video.
DNA and the effects the photons have on the DNA and how they activate the light within our DNA. And so
it's also interesting, like, for example, why are all beer bottles brown? Why are all wine bottles green? That exposes the contents to certain frequencies of light, and those get transmitted or that those modify the contents in such a way that they change the human body when ingested.
Yeah. Okay, so let me take a few minutes to just describe you what I've been going through, and then I'm sure some of you have some stories as well. But a few weeks back, I started experimenting with this after I saw the video and after Lori had been talking for the past month about color therapy. I'm like, Jeannie and Susie Q can remember a couple years ago when I used visualization and meditation to heal my left knee. And with a background in anatomy and physiology, I just got out my reference books and started getting into the mechanics of the knee. I wasn't aware of a lot of these healing modalities. And so to me, I went to old school and I went back inside my knee and I visualized each and every part of my knee. The kneecap was out of place since 2010. And it gave me all kinds of problems. Plus, I lost the cartilage in between my thigh and femur. And so I'm filled with osteoarthritis, and it was dysfunctional. I couldn't even get out of bed and walk. So what I did is a combination of meditation and visualization, and asking my guides, my angels, and Great Spirit for help in healing. And I had other people sending out good intents as well. Susie and Jeannie showed me some turmeric and ginger, and I was making lattes to use that to decrease inflammation and swelling. I was eating better foods to decrease inflammation and swelling, stay away from anything that would irritate it any further. But it was just, I didn't have color, and I didn't have a whole lot of sound, except for when Lori later gave me my singing bowl. When my knee would act up from time to time, I would use that sound frequency on that. But for the most part, I was able to get the patella back into this appropriate position. And I was able to regenerate some of the nerve endings and tissue in the knee. And I had proof of it with the x-ray and CAT scans taken at the doctor's office, and had detailed conversations with the doctors about it. And they said, we don't know what happened. It should not have been able to move this. What did you do? Whack it with something? I'm like, no. I just every day concentrated on visualizing how I wanted that knee to be repaired, and I repaired it. Now, that was without any of these other technologies. And now I have a torn meniscus and torn ligaments in my right knee, and I have the bone on bone, no more cartilage in between. And so I'm starting to apply a lot of things. I'm starting to apply, my crystal grid layout, and I have selected 8 crystals that work for me. And those crystals give off energy and synchronize with my vibration. I listen to different singing bowl videos that I play, and I just added color. Finally, Lori recommended some light strips that I put all around halfway around my room. I can change the colors with a remote control. I've been bathing myself in green light, which is healing. Which is healing. And I keep a journal of all this. Mandy Moo got me started on the crystals because about a year ago I was asking her, I need some reference materials on what different crystals can do for you, because I don't know much about crystals. And so I have these charts that I use for the crystals, and you can use them too. Let me just bring up a share screen real quick, Lori. Share screen. I'm clicking on it. Here we go. Okay.
Scotty boy. Disco healing. Yep.
Disco healing. That's right. Scared the cat the other night.
I have a disco ball. Not visible. Yeah.
Awesome. I scared the cat the other night just simply by let's see. Whoa.
Wow.
How did I get all those?
I don't know what you're doing.
All I did was share screen and
feedback.
click it.
Okay.
Let's.
Yeah. Wow. Infinite.
Is it gone?
Nope. We just see your
Okay.
desktop now. So go to the. Just go to the tab that you want to show.
It showed up like that in StreamYard, but not on my desktop.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
you're
try
not
that
clicking.
Did you stop sharing? I'm going to stop sharing. Let me try that again, you guys. Excuse me.
It's all good.
I did this before the show, and I had no problem, but I must have double clicked.
Just make sure you go to the tab that you want to show. Just get that up there.
There it
you
is.
Go.
Now I'm going to stretch it out and cover the whole screen, like you said, right?
Yep.
Is that pretty much okay?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, you guys. So there's different charts that give you kind of a universal overall understanding. It's accepted by a lot of people that work with crystals, and they've come together and put this guide together. And so I started out with these because they give you an idea, like Jasper, strengthen liver, gallbladder, bladder, smell. Down here, lapis lazuli, provide mental calming, psychic ability increasing, opening throat chakra for self-expression, things like that. But you pick
citrine, lapis lazuli, yeah. Emerald.
But some of them have, healing effects on bones and tissue. So, and everybody responds differently to how it stimulates you and how it affects your body. So what works for me might not work for one of you. So you keep a journal. So I started keeping a journal of those things that worked for me. And there's all kinds of references out there. These are more of your mood and talks more about moods and your emotions and things like that, as opposed to physical health. So they deal with the mental health side, psychological aspects, and then they also deal with the physical. So I put those journals together, and I've been keeping those notes, and then I got the color chart out. And the color chart, I'm going to stretch this out. Let me know if it's okay. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go straight to the green on this color chart. Peace, balance, and emotional calm. But green helps you rebuild muscle and tissue and helps infections and injuries. Now, my knee is severely injured. I have muscle damage and tissue damage. So I am bathing myself every night in this green light now. Well, I've only tried it for 2 nights, excuse me. But what I was doing with the singing bowls videos is some of them have a light bath, and you can find the ones you want out there at the different frequencies to help you, and you can get color that way, but your skin's not absorbing the color that way through a small cell phone, you know what I mean? And I don't have a big screen TV like Lori. She gets all this off of, she had lit up her room. I said, what are you doing? So Lori showed me what she was doing. And I just wrapped my whole room with it a couple of days ago. It was a day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And I've been bathing myself 25 minutes. I do these self-healing sessions, 25 minutes at a time. The effect that it's having is phenomenal, because it not only, when I surrounded it with the crystals, it was reducing the pain and it was relaxing me so I didn't have tension. But then when I added the sound, you could feel it in your skull, the vibrating, and it went all the way down each chakra, and it got to that knee, and man, it was just like popping the knee. The knee was vibrating with energy. And then when I added the light color therapy, the skin was absorbing the green. Now, this is no way, I'm not trying to compare this to the technology this woman just talked about. This is a self-healing approach I'm taking. I don't have access to the funding, and I don't have access to that kind of technology. But what I am learning through this process is that there are different combinations of colors, combinations of crystals, and combinations of sound that can help you with your visualization, and it helps you open up, and then you're in a receiving mode. And I ask my angels and guides for scalar energy. I put my hands out and they fill me with scalar energy. And I've got people like Grandpa Brian, sending me Reiki healing. So it's like, it's a combination of all these tools And it's
Right.
a lot of experimenting. You're just you're finding ways. I'm going to stop sharing. You're just finding ways to take control of your own
Healing.
Self-healing. And I'm without insurance. I can't afford expensive medical tests and exams, and I can't afford special,
You're
special
just doing
treatment.
everything you can.
Just doing everything I can.
To heal that knee, and you're discovering different ways to do it. Not saying this is going to work for everybody, but for some reason it's working for you, and that's why we wanted to share.
So I got more flexibility. So far, here's what I've got so far. I've got more flexibility in the knee. I've got more
less pain.
Less pain. I can stand in a single position and actually put weight on it now. I couldn't before. And I'm able to get down the steps. I take it one at a time without sitting on my butt and butt sliding down the steps.
Yeah.
So I'm actually upright and getting down the step. So that's significant. Am I healed? No, I just started this therapy in the past 10 days working on the knee.
Yeah, and you added compression fitting socks for your knees as well. And I know my sister uses those quite a bit, and she understands the technology with it as well. So that was one of the reasons I suggested that for you.
Yeah, Lori put me onto the compression. I got a 2-pack for both knees because the left knee, even though it's healed, still remember now it doesn't have the cartilage. Yeah. But the patella's in place, the tissue's been repaired. I can move this knee, but it gets sore, and right now it's carrying the burden of all my weight.
Yeah,
it's carrying that burden of my weight, and it's doing all the work. When I go up steps, it pulls the rest of me up because the right knee can't do that right now. So I've got that compression sock on that sleeve on that knee as well. And it's also getting the benefit of the sound and the light. Now, there is a spiritual, when it comes to knees, we won't get into this, but there is a spiritual reason for the knee. And we can get into that when we get more into the sound. We'll go into that in more detail in the different frequencies. And I have different hertz frequencies that we can apply to different types of medical problems. I have a separate section of my journal dealing with my lungs because I went through the bronchial problem and spasms, and I went through that pulmonary edema brought on by that reaction to fertilizer. So I was meditating and self-healing from that, and that went real quick, and I've never healed that quickly from any kind of problems with my lungs. So I'm just trying to share with you. I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm a practitioner of any kind.
It's just your truth, and you're sharing your truth with other people. We're not sitting here trying to get people to buy anything or do anything. We're just kind of showing you all of the different options that are out there, and we're experiencing some things with it. And so we're just sharing it. And I'm also watching in chat. I know some people have some strong opinions, and that's okay to have your opinion. But please respect the other people that are in here as well, and keep it on the up and up, guys.
Well, let me say something. See, a lot of people are basically lazy. So, and also a lot of people associate medicine with something you take in the form of a pill. And, as a substitute for this light and sound healing, I would recommend for almost any problem, vitamin C, and specifically regeneration of cartilage. My mom, she had rheumatoid arthritis, and she actually cured herself of 95% of it. She had it in both her hips, and she was taking megadoses of vitamin C. So you might want to look into that. Vitamin C is an anti-inflammatory, and most diseases, I'd say the vast majority of them, have at their core some type of inflammation. And vitamin C is key because it's the only vitamin that we humans cannot make in our own livers. And we're the only mammal, besides guinea pigs, that cannot make their own vitamin C. That's why vitamin C supplementation is crucial.
Okay, so I've got oregano. I don't have the essential oils, but I have the capsules with the oils in them. So I'm using the oregano every day. That's anti-inflammatory, and that helps with the swelling.
Garlic.
Garlic. I'm also using I'm still using the turmeric and
which ginger. Is good for the anti-inflammatory. Kelly does a lot of that too.
Every day.
Yeah, she does it every day.
So I don't take Advil or Aleve. That stuff makes me sick. It has an effect on my stomach, and I don't like it. So I take all of that with this other regimen, and then also in my notes here. Hang on a second. Let's find my notes because I lost them underneath of the.
Well, yeah, I'm taking 3 raw cloves of garlic every single day, chewed on an empty stomach,
Okay.
followed by water.
Here we go. Here's the
good
crystal.
Antioxidant as well.
These are my 8 crystals. Okay, Auralite 23, which is really red cap amethyst, has all the 23 elements in it. It boosts my psychic ability for opening myself up to receive from the universe healing vibrations. But the purple amethyst is what gives me the soothing and the relaxation and the anxiety relief. The calcite and the fluorite help strengthen the bones. The pyrite, lapis lazuli, and red jasper are all used for healing tissue, for anti-inflammatory. So I'm using those are the crystals. I lay them out in a grid around the leg and knees. So I lay in my bed with a grid around me, and then I have the green light bath, and then the sound frequencies, and I have different ones for different. Like for my longer sessions, I have a different singing bowl. Now, Lori has helped me pick out some singing bowl videos that are really good, and they give off light as well as the sound. They were very, very good, but I have since then discovered a couple more that I was showing her today that I'm going to be applying, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Awesome.
I'm just saying it, I made my own chamber.
Yeah.
My bedroom is my chamber, and the bed is my own med bed. But it's not the kind of technology that these people are talking about.
But you're taking those same ideas and you're considering them, and you're actually implementing it and experimenting with it and trying it, and you're seeing some results. So that's what's interesting here, folks.
Yeah. So the sound component we'll get into deeper. Next week. Is it next week we're going to cover the sound?
We'll do
part 2. We'll go into sound. There's no videos to watch. It's just different people talking about what they know about the sound technology and how it's working for them. But Max asked for it's in our YouTube channel description is the link, right, to the video.
Yes, for the video, and I just posted it. I can do it again for you folks.
So now I want to ask Brian, Grandpa Brian, with the Reiki healing community, the folks that you're in classes with, and Sophia, you're in the room here. I don't know if Courtney's with us tonight or not, but are you guys using, Courtney's in here? Okay, so are you all using any of the color or sound therapies with your Reiki healing in combination? By any chance?
And Reiki is scalar healing,
the drumming. We do drumming when we do our healing, Reiki healing at our group.
Okay.
We don't do it so much at group, but in our class, spiritual development, about every other month we break out the tuning forks and go through the chakras, and then you actually got chakras above too, and we usually hit those too. But and that's all about frequency and getting yourself balanced, and it's all about getting yourself balanced. So
I've seen people take that tuning fork and actually place it on their body.
And
the video I was watching on vibrational healing suggested that the vibrations that the tuning forks put out, and even the Aboriginal didgeridoo instrument, the frequencies that they put out have healing frequencies.
Is that what you meant?
Didgeridoo, yeah.
Didgeridoo?
Thank you.
Okay.
I was trying to figure, but it puts out a vibrational sound that actually heals beyond the. Sophia was mentioning color and sound on a light level, but it goes deeper into your tissue and bones. Certain types of instruments, like the singing bowls, the tuning forks, that pipe that they use, and it had a list of like 10 or 15 different instruments that actually go beyond the, I want to say, mental health, beyond the psychological, beyond the moods. They go deeper into the tissue for healing and mending tissue, so they claim. I'm finding that to be the case. I'm finding that to be the case. I've just ordered a tuning fork for myself, but I'm finding, because I'm tell you why I'm saying this. It's not just because I feel better or I feel more relaxed. It's because I can feel it in the body. I can feel the vibration. Just when you have done some Reiki healing with me and Lori has done Reiki healing with me, I have felt almost like your hands massaging. I've actually felt the tissue moving under the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's my intent and my ability to receive compared to someone else. And I can't compare to anybody else. I only know mine.
Yeah.
But I know the end result.
You have a good connection with myself and Grandpa Brian with that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I felt his energy before as well. So it's not it's not woo woo.
It's not.
It really isn't. But
and I believe that the Christos spirit that was in Jesus and other characters throughout history, throughout the spiritual communities in ancient times, understood and knew how to use magnetics and photons and sound and energy to heal. They were healers. And they laid hands on people. They were doing Reiki, okay? So we're not saying anything here that's satanic. And by the way, I don't get into the occult. It's not my thing. It might be other people's. It's just not mine.
Nope.
So I don't get into any of the casting sigils and casting spells. And
no,
I rely on Great Spirit, the Spirit of the Christos, my angels, and the healing abilities that I know each and every one of us possess that are tapped into those beings of light and love are actually helping to heal me. That's my testimony.
Yeah. And you're sticking to it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I'm walking.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm able to walk Ruby in the woods and take her down to the lake before I had this torn meniscus. She's the one that tore my meniscus, by the way.
Yeah, she kind of
she slammed into it like, yeah. So,
well, it's definitely a fascinating subject, and it's good to share with others because we're experiencing this kind of stuff and we're seeing some results. It's just fascinating how this works. And you can heal your life. There are things that you can't heal, that's for sure. There are things that are permanent, paralysis, things of that nature. But tissue.
Well, this is why I don't want to completely throw out the window Jason's interview tonight with this doctor, because he himself is tapped into energy beings. And if I say I'm tapped into energy beings, I'm asking you, I'm telling you, I'm sharing with you, whether you believe me or not, it's up to you.
Right.
But with him, he's tapped into the Galactic Federation. And he's claiming that this system is something they're helping to promote to help humanity, because humanity has been deprived for far too long, or has lost its way with its knowledge, and and is helping to them to reestablish that knowledge and come up with different devices that will help humanity. Who am I to say you're lying? I believe there's something to it, and whether or not they're credible or not, I don't know. But the technology that they're describing, I believe, works for the most part. And I'm not saying I believe that there's instantaneous overnight healing.
Yeah.
But this technology puts out enough it radiates out to the community, and people that are in close proximity to it that aren't even part of the program have been healed.
Well, see, you don't have instantaneous. You can't have instantaneous healing because you generally don't have instantaneous disease.
Yeah.
Because most diseases, unless it's like a broken bone or something, take years, decades to evolve to get to that point.
Oh, speaking of which, that's another thing, folks. I found out through a visual meditation. I was shown a vision of a past life. None that I had seen before, and I've seen quite a few. This one, I was a female prisoner, and I was being attacked by the guards. They shattered my right knee. They shattered it in 2 different places. So that just came to me 2 or 3 days ago when I was using that big amethyst that Brian gave me for my birthday, that big chunk of amethyst.
Yeah.
Lori said, "Have you ever tried to remote view a crystal?" And I'm like, "No." She goes, "I wonder what would happen if you remote viewed the amethyst." And I said, "Well, a crystal of any kind is multifaceted. So it would seem to me that if I was remote viewing it, I would be getting different views from different angles." And it ended up taking me into past lives and showing me different past lives. And in this one, it freaked me out. I seriously did freak out, you guys, because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And I felt what she was feeling. It was
Wow.
me.
Wow.
And so I've been through some trauma, and that might explain why I'm having some of the problems that I'm having. You know, whatever
Fascinating.
Ruby may have been used as a catalyst by the universe to damage the knee, to get me to the point where I could see the trauma for the karmic clearing.
Yeah.
Because as you all know,
Yep.
I've been talking about karmic
Most
clearing
definitely.
now for several months. So I'm having this issue, not because I was stupid, or not because I've got a jinx, or not because somebody cast a spell on me. You know, it's because I was meant to see this. Probably that's what I'm feeling, and because I've had that experience with other things too. Judy and Susie know about that. And
well,
so
being
I'm
spiritual, being spiritually aware does open yourself to new concepts and ideas, and that's basically what we're trying to do here, is just kind of open you up a little bit and give you a little taste of it, and run with it, see what you can do with it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But it's just fascinating to kind of dive into these types of subjects and things like that, and then to actually have some experiments with it and see results is pretty amazing stuff. So.
And it also logically follows that any kind of working technology of this type of character would be suppressed by the medical establishment, because they're the ones that stand to lose the money.
Sure,
right. They
big
can't
pharma. Make the money.
Yep. Yeah,
sure.
And also Julianne would probably want to point out, talk to your cells, talk to yourself cells. And so I have been doing that as well, taking my left hand, placing it over my right knee, and just having a good heart-to-heart chit-chat. And my brother walked in. He goes, "Are you talking to your freaking knee?" And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm thanking it for everything it's ever done for me in my life. It's
gratitude and appreciation."
Yeah. And I made a bond with it. I said, "I promise you, I will do everything I can to help you heal. I'll take it
like
easy
talking
on
to
you.
Yourself. Yeah, it's exactly like talking to yourself."
Well, you are talking to yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And he's
Look
like,
at me like I'm crazy.
"Do I need to worry about it?" And I said, "Well, I'm able to bend it and move it, so everything I've been doing is working." And talking to it and having a chit chat with it and letting it know I love the fact that it's carried me all my life.
Yeah.
As above, so below. The thigh is above.
You could say it's been of value to you your whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is spiritual significance to each knee, has its own role to play in your life.
Yeah.
So talk to yourself is what I would say. I soothed it. I actually soothe it that way, because I can't barely touch it. It's so sensitive. So I just lightly put my hand over it, didn't push on it or anything, and just soothed it with my own voice.
Well,
so there's something
fascinating, great stuff. Yep, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're coming to the end of the hour and a half here. We knew it was going to run a little extra over, and that's okay. Anybody else has anything else they want to say about this color therapy stuff?
It's also quite possible that people with different eye colors see the world differently.
Imagine having 2 different eye colors too.
Yeah, that's right. And some people do have 2 different eye colors.
Yeah.
Some people wear different kinds of colored lenses, to get different kinds of effects. And it's also interesting, as I pointed out earlier, that, in sacral architecture, you have like the stained glass, which you never see in like regular domestic architecture.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, human beings didn't see the full light spectrum. Early humans, we believe, did not see the full spectrum of light that we modern humans see today. The color blue wasn't seen for the longest time, and there was no word in the human language to describe the color blue. Remember that?
Yeah.
So the ancients obviously had access to these different types of technologies involving color, but they may have seen it and applied it differently than we are today. So we're relearning how to do it.
That's actually could be because we had a different atmosphere a couple of thousand years ago, because we had the paper canopy as propounded by people like Jason Berkshires Archaics. That we had a different type of atmosphere.
Fascinating.
Well, I just hope that this interview, whether you believe in this lady or her technology, it was the issues that we wanted to bring to the table. The awareness, the information of what this involves to increase it. It's not to sell her system or to push any one.
We're not selling
technology.
anything here.
It was just a fascinating discussion that they were having, and they brought up all the points that we wanted to hit with the value of color therapy. And the folks, thank you in the chat room for all of your comments. And,
also consider the fact that as regards, its use of color in religious contexts, why do all priests wear black? Why do all cardinals wear red? Why does the Pope wear white? Why do all doctors wear all white?
Interesting. Yeah.
So, okay. So here's a couple takeaways now that it's 10:30. Keep this in mind. Creating an optimal brain state of health and happiness through focusing on what you want through meditation and intent. Visualize with the power of your intent, and thank the body for functioning so perfectly. Breathing light into every part of your body and every cell self. Let every cell know the truth and love of being here. This is what consciousness is about. And understand that DNA stores the photons. It's an infinity wave and activates the light at the very core of your DNA. It activates the stars, for we are stardust. Thank you for listening tonight and sharing with us.
Awesome.
We really appreciate the folks in the chat room pitching in some of their stories and successes.
Yep.
Really
Thank you, everybody.
That.
Yep. And much love to everybody on the panel, everyone in chat, those who are watching and choose not to comment. Brian, something? Did you have something else?
Yes. I wanted to make an announcement tonight after conversing with my guides and my pendulum. I'm postponing the gathering until sometime late September, early October.
Okay.
As of right now, if I was going to have it here in 3 weeks, there would probably only be about 4 or 5 people to make it. And I don't want that. I know times are tough. People are struggling financially.
Gas prices.
I'm going to move it back again. And, maybe moving it back would probably be the best for everyone. Let things calm down. Hopefully gas prices come down and to make it easier for people to travel. Again, I apologize for doing this on such short notice, but I've had quite a few cancellations over the past couple of weeks, and it just kept dropping and dropping. And something was telling me now's not the time. And I talked to my guides, and they said, basically saying now is not the time. So here in a few weeks, I'll figure out a date and let everybody know.
Okay. Sounds really good.
Thank you all, and I love you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lori, for helping me with all this and
of course
bringing this
my
topic.
Pleasure. You betcha.
It's really changed the quality of my life for the past several weeks. It's
that's great.
To future improvements, and
yes,
and all of you.
Absolutely.
So, love you guys out there.
All right. With that, peace out.
Peace out. Have a